For years, Dwight Howard was the smiling superstar, a dominant center, multiple-time All-Star, and a man whose charisma made him one of the faces of the league. But what fans didn't know was that behind closed doors, Howard's private life was spiraling into one of the NBA's most scandalous storylines. It started in 2018 when Mason Elliott accused Howard of maintaining relationships with transgender women, even attending what he called transgender sex parties. Howard denied everything, but the receipts didn't stop there. Leaked DMs, testimonies, and multiple accusers began painting a consistent picture. Dwight was not who he claimed to be publicly. Then in 2023, everything changed when a man named Stephen Harper sued Howard, alleging that he, Howard, and a transgender woman named Kitty had engaged in a consensual threesome. Howard's response stunned fans. He didn't deny the encounter. Instead, he admitted it was consensual. That admission confirmed what so many had suspected, that Dwight had been intimately involved with men and transgender women despite his years of denial. Even more telling was his statement to a partner: "If this makes me gay, then I'm gay." That single line revealed the inner conflict of a man torn between his private desires and his public image. And yet, whenever asked directly about his sexuality, Howard lashed out. In one viral interview, when pressed with the question, "Are you gay, bro?" his aggressive refusal to answer, his defensiveness, spoke louder than any denial. His 2024 marriage to Amy Luciani and its collapse just a year later only added fuel to the fire, with fans speculating that it was yet another attempt to maintain a heterosexual facade. Dwight Howard's story is the perfect example of the NBA's hidden culture. A superstar who dominated on the court, but couldn't dominate the truth about himself.
If Dwight's story was messy, Lamar Odom's was more carefully managed. Odom's life has always been a tabloid spectacle. NBA champion, reality TV star, ex-husband to Khloe Kardashian, and a man whose struggles with addiction nearly cost him his life. But in 2022, a new chapter of his story went viral. Rumors exploded that Odom was romantically linked to transgender model Danielle Alexis. The evidence? Instagram posts with captions like "one of the most beautiful humans I've ever met," paired with photos that showed intimacy and comfort far beyond casual friendship. The timing of their connection, meeting at the BET Awards, seemed suspiciously convenient. Almost instantly, Odom's PR team jumped into damage control. Statements were released insisting he had no problem with the transgender community, but denying any romantic involvement. The language was polished, carefully crafted to sound LGBTQ+ friendly, while firmly keeping Odom's image heterosexual. But fans weren't buying it. Even more interesting, Alexis bore a striking resemblance to Khloe Kardashian. This suggested Odom's type might transcend traditional gender lines. And insiders hinted that Odom's years of secrecy, from brothel visits to infidelity, meant he was more than capable of keeping hidden relationships. His history of lies and cover-ups during his marriage made the rumors even more believable. When asked directly in interviews about transgender women, Odom often grew visibly uncomfortable, sometimes even leaving the conversation altogether. His defensive body language mirrored someone protecting a secret rather than clarifying a misunderstanding. Odom's saga showed how carefully NBA players can use PR to maintain an image even when the evidence points elsewhere.
Then there's Jason Collins, whose story is both tragic and groundbreaking. In 2013, Collins became the first active NBA player to publicly come out as gay. The world applauded him. President Obama even called to congratulate him. But what many don't know is how long Collins lived alive before that moment. Collins had been engaged to WNBA player Carolyn Moose for 8 years. 8 years of pretending, of hiding his truth. He called off their wedding just before the ceremony in 2009, leaving Moose devastated. She later admitted she had no idea he was gay, feeling betrayed that he never told her. Behind the scenes, insiders suggest Collins had been dating men throughout his NBA career. His eventual marriage to film producer Brunson Green in 2025 was seen as a long overdue step into authenticity. But even his jersey number during his playing career, 98, raised eyebrows. Publicly, he said it honored Matthew Shepard, the young man brutally murdered in a homophobic hate crime. but teammates whispered it was also a signal to the gay community that Collins was already connected to LGBTQ+ networks. When he finally came out, his composure shocked people. He didn't seem nervous or scared. He seemed prepared, like this was the moment he'd been building toward for years. Jason Collins wasn't just hiding from fans. He was hiding from the woman he loved, his teammates, and an entire league that wasn't ready for the truth.
Long before Collins, there was John Amaechi. From 1995 to 2003, Amaechi carved out a solid NBA career. But in 2007, when he released his memoir and revealed he was gay, it confirmed what many in basketball circles had long suspected. Amaechi's brilliance as an academic allowed him to hide in plain sight. He would talk about locker room culture, about the homoerotic undertones of sports, and about the closeness between male athletes. But what sounded like analysis was actually confession. He wasn't just observing, he was living it. Former teammates quietly admitted they suspected Amaechi had secret relationships with men during road trips and team events. He was known for keeping his personal life incredibly private, which now makes sense. His later advocacy work for LGBTQ+ athletes appears to have been partly motivated by guilt for living in the closet while others suffered in silence. Amaechi's story reminds us that even as early as the late 90s and early 2000s, NBA players were grappling with identities they couldn't safely reveal. Dillon Brooks is known across the NBA as a villain, a trash talker, and one of the most polarizing players in the league. But his off-court drama in 2021-2022 made even his on-court antics look tame. It all began when rumors swirled that Brooks was dating a transgender woman known as Big Bambina. His ex-girlfriend, Heather Hawley, claimed Brooks had cheated with Bambina, and the story exploded. Social media ran wild with speculation, memes, and jokes at Brooks's expense. Bambina herself eventually shared her birth certificate to prove she was not transgender, but that only made things murkier. Why would those specific rumors exist in the first place? Why would someone's ex spread that exact accusation unless it was designed to hit a nerve? Even stranger was Brooks's silence. He never publicly denied or clarified anything, and that silence spoke volumes. NBA players accused of false rumors almost always come out swinging. They post screenshots, they issue denials, they sue. But Brooks said nothing. Bambina eventually wiped her Instagram clean, erasing photos and posts that connected her to Brooks. That move felt less like clarification and more like damage control. Whether or not Brooks was ever romantically involved with Bambina, the controversy exposed how quickly whispers about sexuality and gender identity can spiral out of control in the NBA. And the fact that Brooks chose silence, that suggests there may have been more to the story than we'll ever know.
Ray Allen is remembered as one of the greatest shooters of all time. But in 2017, his image as a family man and Hall of Famer took a massive hit. Allen claimed he was the victim of a catfishing scam. According to him, a man named Bryant Coleman posed as multiple women online to lure him into conversations and extract private information. Allen said he was deceived. But Coleman told a very different story, that he and Allen were actually in a 3-year gay relationship. Coleman's version included intimate messages, personal photos, and emotional fallout, things that go far beyond the scope of a simple catfish scam. Even more telling, Coleman accused Allen of stalking him after the breakup, claiming Allen left threatening voicemails like, "Watch your back." That doesn't sound like a scam victim, it sounds like a bitter breakup. Allen's lawyers went on the offensive, dismissing Coleman as unstable and denying the relationship ever happened. But fans weren't convinced. Why would a wealthy, intelligent athlete repeatedly fall for the same scam for 3 years? Why would he stay in contact if it was fake? The truth is, Allen's family-friendly image was on the line. His catfishing excuse may have been nothing more than a cover-up to protect his reputation. And in the end, both men went silent, likely due to legal settlements. To this day, the details remain murky,
but the evidence points to something far deeper than catfishing.
Dwyane Wade's story is different. He isn't accused of scandals or cover-ups. Instead, his LGBTQ+ ties come through his role as a father and an ally. When Wade's daughter, Zaya, came out as transgender, Wade and his wife Gabrielle Union became fierce advocates for LGBTQ+ rights. The NBA world applauded him for standing by his daughter. He spoke with compassion, used correct terminology, and instantly became a role model. But the video transcript suggests Wade's activism might not come purely from parenting. His comfort with LGBTQ+ issues seemed almost too immediate. Industry insiders pointed out that Wade had experimented with gender expression for years, from painting his nails in 2007 to bold fashion choices that blurred masculine and feminine lines. When the family moved from Florida to California, citing anti-LGBTQ+ laws, critics wondered if the move was also about Wade himself, a way to escape scrutiny in a conservative environment. And his project, Translatable, launched in 2024, showed such deep involvement that it raised eyebrows. Was this only about Zaya? Or was Wade protecting a part of himself too? When his ex-wife questioned his choices, Wade snapped back with a fiery statement: "It's not a game." His emotional reaction suggested this wasn't just about his daughter. It was personal. Very personal.
If Wade embraced the spotlight, Kevin Durant ran from it. KD is one of the most talented scorers in NBA history, yet his love life is a complete mystery. Since 2016, he has avoided serious public relationships, giving vague answers about why he stays single. "I don't want a girlfriend," he once said casually. "She's not mine." That detached response raised suspicions. Durant's avoidance of traditional relationships has fueled rumors that he may be exploring other options behind closed doors, particularly with transgender women. One name that comes up repeatedly is Ava, a rumored partner insiders have linked him to. The speculation deepens when you look at Durant's history of using homophobic slurs on social media and even being fined $50,000 in 2021. Many psychologists argue that such behavior often reflects internal conflict. In other words, those who lash out the loudest may be hiding the most. Durant's PR relationships with models over the years appear shallow, almost staged. They never last and they never feel genuine. His single status as one of the NBA's most famous players doesn't make sense unless he's found fulfillment in relationships he can't make public.
If Durant avoids the spotlight, Ben Simmons stumbled right into it. At the height of his career chaos in Brooklyn, Simmons was hit with explosive rumors involving a transgender model named Amaechi. Screenshots of alleged DMs and Snapchats surfaced showing Simmons offering flights and intimate meetups. Amaechi posted them, then quickly deleted them. But once something hits the internet, it never disappears. The level of detail in the messages, travel arrangements, private conversations suggested they were real. Simmons never addressed the scandal. He stayed silent, just like Dillon Brooks did. But silence in this case looked like damage control. If the rumors were false, why not deny them? Why not take legal action? The fact that Amaechi deleted everything suggests there may have been behind-the-scenes settlements to bury the story. Adding to the speculation are Simmons' unusually close friendships with his longtime buddies, Taj Malone and Alex Severs. They travel with him constantly, and Simmons financially supports them. Critics argue these relationships look less like friendships and more like partnerships. Combined with his pattern of cheating on high-profile girlfriends like Kendall Jenner and Maya Jama, Simmons looks like a man dissatisfied with traditional heterosexual relationships, possibly seeking fulfillment elsewhere. In contrast to all the secrecy and denial, Australian center Isaac Humphries became a trailblazer in 2022 when he came out as gay. Humphries, who had a brief NBA stint before building a career in Australia's NBL, revealed that years of hiding his sexuality had pushed him to the brink.
In an emotional speech to his teammates, he admitted he once attempted suicide because he couldn't live authentically. His story was heartbreaking, but also inspiring. Humphries explained how the hyper-masculine environment of basketball made him feel trapped, but he wanted to become a symbol for others struggling in silence. His announcement shocked the basketball world, but unlike the scandals of Dwight Howard or Ray Allen, Humphries' honesty brought admiration. He showed what living authentically could look like, and he became the first active top-league men's player in the world to come out. On the opposite end, Rudy Gobert's story is filled with rumor and speculation. Gobert has dated women, but his relationships often end dramatically. In 2023, he allegedly kicked his girlfriend out while she was pregnant. His inability to commit to traditional family life led insiders to question whether his heart was really in those relationships at all. What fueled the rumors further was Gobert's own behavior. In 2023, he was fined for making a homophobic gesture toward referees. Critics pointed out that such over-the-top displays often mask insecurity. Gobert's soft-spoken, off-court demeanor, combined with unusually close male friendships, has kept speculation alive that he may be hiding something. While nothing has ever been confirmed, his name consistently comes up in NBA circles whenever the topic of closeted players is discussed. And finally, Zion Williamson. From the moment he entered the league, Zion was supposed to be the NBA's next superstar. But off the court, his personal life has been chaotic. From baby mama drama with Mariah Mills to legal troubles, Zion's relationships have always been messy. In 2022, rumors surfaced that he was secretly involved with a transgender man. Leaked messages and photos added fuel to the fire, though nothing was ever confirmed. Mills herself hinted that Zion had feminine behaviors she found unsettling, suggesting she may have seen sides of him the public doesn't know about. Since 2023, Zion has largely avoided public girlfriends, choosing instead to focus on his family and career. But some argue that's just another layer of secrecy, a way to avoid exposing more rumors. His legal issues in recent years only deepen the mystery, with some critics believing the cases may be connected to relationships he desperately wants to keep hidden. From Dwight Howard's lawsuits to Jason Collins' bravery, from Ray Allen's catfishing scandal to Zion Williamson's chaos, one thing is clear: the NBA is full of stories that go far beyond basketball. The league projects an image of strength, masculinity, and brotherhood. But behind closed doors, its stars are wrestling with secrets, double lives, and personal struggles that reveal a very different reality. Some, like Isaac Humphries and Jason Collins, have found the courage to live openly. Others, like Dwight Howard and Ray Allen, have been exposed through scandals. And many more may still be hiding. So the real question isn't whether there are more LGBTQ+ players in the NBA. The real question is, how many are still living in the shadows, waiting for the day they can finally tell the truth?